Well, I'm cooking, so.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of My CP Does Not Define Me, where we focus less on the this and more on the ability of what we can do. Join us each and every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, live on the Disability Global Broadcast, Facebook Live, and LetGoRadio.net. Looking forward to seeing you there.
What's up, everybody? It's D to the J with the roll away. Sorry we're a little bit late, but I'm actually waiting on a guest that's going to jump on with me. Today is December the 13th, and the Christmas holiday is right around the corner. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everybody. Actually, let me pop my guest in here for just a moment. So we'll bring her in. I just, and in doing this, hey, Christina, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I thank you so much for being on the show with me today. I kind of called her and asked her to jump on with me because this topic, honestly, I've been doing this show for 5 years and a little over 5 years actually, almost 6. And you go through 141 episodes of a show, and they've all been good. I won't say they've been perfect. Some of them have. Some of them have really, been, off the wall, off the chain, totally, hit out of the park. People cry, people laugh, all that stuff. But and I'm not even talking about trollers in this sense. Let me make this clear. My CP Does Not Define Me has always been dedicated to cerebral palsy and people with disabilities, sharing their story, going through their life. Hey, Tony, Merry Christmas to you, buddy. Going through their lives, telling their journey, about their story so that they have a chance to be heard on a platform like this. As long as I can remember, I was born in 1981. CP has stood for cerebral palsy. Now, let me explain something. In no way, shape, or form is this show about child pornography or child porn. And I recently was asked by about 12 to 15 people to change my username of my show because CP stands for child porn. And let me explain something. And there were some of us that defended, some of them that defended me, and some of them that said, oh, I didn't know that. So it's not everybody that was saying the same thing, but I want to make this very clear. In my description, if you go and take 5 seconds and go to the description of my YouTube channel, you will see as follows, and I quote, "This channel is dedicated to CP, cerebral palsy, parentheses." And it talks about how it's affected, who it's affected, why it's affected, what it's about. Read the freaking description, people. I mean, really, if you go through all 141 episodes, you very rarely find a cuss word, let alone something relating to child pornography.
Yeah, people are just so sensitive about those things, and maybe it was good that it was brought to your attention, but okay, people need to actually read things too. This is the thing. There's so many things out there. You just click, you make a snap judgment, you comment something without knowing the whole story. And I feel like we're unfortunately in a society where people are so quick to judge before they know anything about what they're
well, and you were mentioning on the phone to me, you were searching something on Google, for God's sake. Could you share a little bit about that, if you would?
Yeah, I don't know. I was curious about something with CP. Is this more prevalent in people with CP or whatever? And when I typed in just CP to like start that sentence out, it was like something like, "Are you sure you want to continue? This is a sensitive topic," or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to go back and I had to go cerebral palsy, blah 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 blah. But for Google to even do that, I was like, really? Like Google can follow my search history, and that's what they think I'm searching about. I mean, like, I'm over here Googling Spanish lesson ideas and like things of that sort, so it's just
The funny part to me, and it's not funny, cerebral palsy has been around since kids were locked in camps because they were different.
right.
Their bodies were drawn up and they looked like little, balls of nothing, and they were treated as such. I'm not sure how long child pornography has been around. I don't care to know. But the last thing I know is CP for me stands for cerebral palsy. I said on YouTube the other day, I went off. I said CP could be UCP running down your pants leg if you take a minute and look to see what's dribbling. And I hate using this word. CP, a lot of it is the color purple. I mean, you don't know. It could be anything.
Right.
But yet now, all of a sudden, this new age BS trend that all of a sudden CP stands directly for child porn and not cerebral palsy until they actually watched the video and went, wow, I didn't know that. That's the point. And I say the description of my channel actually says this channel is dedicated to CP, parentheses, cerebral palsy, and the effects and what it does and what it is. But yet I was so blown away by the request to change the name. Hey, Kristen, how are you? To change the name that I was like, you know what? I will go ahead and put parentheses cerebral palsy in the username. Because one guy made a lot of sense, and one guy was very respectful, and one guy looked at me as a human fucking being, and treated me as such to say, this is what I think. I think you have a level head on your shoulders. I think your advice is great. Right. But can I make a small suggestion? Would you consider putting cerebral palsy in the parentheses of your username and so that there's no confusion and you don't get this? And because of him and because of that man, I actually did what he asked and the way he asked it.
Right. Well, respectfully. See, that's the thing. Like I said, people are so quick to just make these mean, hurtful comments and make a snap judgment before they understand, what it is that they're commenting on.
And they won't even click on the video to see what yes, Milton, CP does mean cool people. We will remember that as well. But, the funny thing about it is they're so quick to judge, but they don't want to click on the damn video and watch 5 seconds.
I know.
To find out, because everybody has the attention span of a 2-year-old. Oh, look at the kitty. Oh, squirrel, I'm going to go over there. I mean, it's just, the whole thing. But they won't, give me, but I was just about to report you. Report me for what? Look at the video, moron.
Right.
And they said, I realize, and some of them said, I realize now that CP does mean something totally different. And some people don't know. And that's why I'm trying to get the awareness out.
Right. That's exactly why you do your show, because people don't understand CP until they walk or roll a day, in our shoes, and
exactly
that's the bottom line.
Now, and you've been on my show, and I've been on your show when you were there. What, 10? You've been on there 5-10 times, easy. Have I ever said anything offensive that you can recall?
No, I mean, ultimately it's your show, and you're gonna say what you're gonna say. But you've had some.
No, I want, but I don't know.
Great topics over these years, though. I mean, just like make people cry watching your show kind of topics.
Well, it's hard for me to do this. It's hard for me to do this because I'm sitting here thinking, how can you not read the freaking description? Every YouTube channel has a description right there, and there's it's not. Why would I have a talk show about child pornography? Can we really, get our and one guy, I told him, I said, sure, if you want to go down the dirt road and take it that way, CP could mean child porn. But you know what? If you actually would click, if you have the intelligence to click on the video, I'm not sure if you do or not, Go ahead and click on it and find out what it's really about, and stop judging me for something I haven't even done.
Right. Right.
You know, we're in the middle of the holidays, folks, and let me bring a real realization to you. And I'm going to say this because I'm saying this live with Christina sitting right here. Both of us have CP. I'm not going to say cerebral palsy every damn time. Screw that. We have CP. Deal with it. All right. Now we're right in the middle of the holiday season. Everybody's rushing to get Christmas presents. Everybody's rushing to put up decorations and rushes and bushes and going and boom and that and cooking dinner. How many of us know what holidays are really about? How many of us have sat down and said, you know what, have I spent time with my family? Have I spent time with my grandmother, my grandfather? Have I wrote a letter to somebody I care about?
Well, the problem with the holidays is a lot of people think it's about spending money. It's not. That's not what it's about. Yes, you give and get gifts, but for example, with some people in my parents' neighborhood, this year, we're not doing gifts anymore. We found that it was rather pointless for us to keep exchanging these $25 to $50 gifts every year. And we said, you know what? This year, we're going to get together for pizza. We're going to get together for chicken wings. We're going to do something to get together, to share a meal together and spend time together, because that is what is more important to us than the constant exchange of money. You know?
Well, let me. There's two things here. I want to comment on what Christina just said, but I also want to answer this question. Kristen asked, do you all have kids come up to you and ask you why you are in a wheelchair? Yes, and that's a legit question. Understand, I'm okay with a question. So many people on that YouTube channel ask me, do you know what CP means? And I wanted to go, you stupid mother. Of course I know what CP means.
Right. Like,
I deal with it every day. Like, you know, no, what does it really mean? So did somebody automatically put CP in the dictionary as child porn? Is that what it stands for when you know? Because when you look it up, CP has the abbreviation next to cerebral palsy, jackass, if you honestly knew that. But I'm just saying. I don't mind answering legit questions. I don't mind.
I don't, and parents will do the whole like don't stare or that's not nice. And one time I had a kid ask me, why do you walk that way? And the mom just kind of had this mortified look on her face, and I said, well, you know, sometimes people need a little help with things. I need a little help walking. Some other people need a little help tying their shoes. You know, like I just made it like I tried to make it as relatable as I could. And then like after I said that, the kid was like, oh, okay. And then, you know, the mom didn't look so mortified anymore, but like she thought that her kid was going to offend me. And I'm like, you know, if these parents think that their kids can't ask questions, or if these parents are shushing their kids, how are we going to help to spread, you know, any kind of understanding?
We have to get past the stereotype that we can't explain this thing to children. Children are the future of America, and if the future of the world, and if you can explain things in the way that children can understand them in their level, at their level, on their level, I'm not going to go up to a 5-year-old and I'm going to go, my cerebellum was affected by lack of oxygen to my brain, and I was in the incubator way too long.
Right.
She's going to go, what's wrong with you? Are you an alien? I'm gonna go up to her and I'm gonna go, hi, sweetheart. What happened was my brain can't get down the messages to my legs fast enough to move one at a time, or to make it so that they can understand, so they're not, and it's okay to ask those questions. As I said, I used to work at Walmart, and I just told the kids that I was born that way. That's fine, but if you don't explain to them what, you know, kind of in a way that they can understand, they're going to wonder, why was she born that way? What's that mean? What's it about? And it always leaves the question in their mind, which is good. It's good for people to ask questions, because when you do that, and I'm talking about as a society, We've got to stop assuming shit. See that's the problem that pisses me off right there. You assume that all of a sudden CP has the dedicated right to child porn. I'm like, where is this patentized in the dictionary to look it up? But yet,
again,
it's not. Christina, I asked Christina on this show tonight because, look, Christina's been on enough shows with me. She's seen me at my highest level. She's seen me at my lowest level. She's seen me at my mid level, and she's seen me at a level she don't want to see me at. It's bothersome to me to take my show and to flip it when my show is wholesome.
Yeah,
my show is good. My show is powerful. My show is about something that needs to be talked about daily. And the assumptions are way off. Yes, that's what hurts the most, because it's you think you know, but you don't even bother clicking on the videos to find out because you're too immature and you're too stupid. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Stupid is as stupid does. Sorry about that, Mama. I don't know what other way to go, right. But stupid is as stupid does. Why take a show that has been going strong for 5 years, that has quite a few subscribers and quite a few audience members that tune in every single Wednesday, and say, I can't get through my week without watching this show? Now, to me, I'm going, I got to be doing something right. TV has gotten really much easier in the last couple of years. But now you take something like that and you ridicule my show before you know anything about it. And what pisses me off is you don't even read the description. Sis, I don't know. I can't.
You can't fix stupid.
Mama said
water, but you can't make them drink. And yeah.
That whole leading a horse to water thing. I'm gonna say this. I have never in my life wanted to just blow up as bad as I did the other day. It was a 4-minute video, and I'm like, look, if you don't like my channel, get off my channel.
Yeah.
Nobody told you to sit there and, number one, judge me for something you don't understand. Number two, you're wrong. And number three, you don't even know what you're talking about because you don't have the capability to press a button. But now you see this. That's it right there. That is it right there. Uneducated and don't want to be educated. Oh, I like that. That's pretty much the whole shebang right there. I'm very casual with my show. I've dressed up. I've worn t-shirts. I've worn pajamas. I've worn suit and tie. I represent myself well. Now, it don't matter what I wear because I look good in it either way. I'm wearing a picture of myself right now, okay? So it is not, I'm not going to sit there and say that a person doesn't have the right to their opinion. But when you opinionate my show to something that it's not, and you're not even on the same level because you are too uneducated or too lazy or too uncoordinated, that's a good word right there, to press a button and listen to a video. If you would actually listen to my show for 5 minutes, you might learn something. And that scares people, see? A little bit of knowledge goes a long, long way. But see, people try to take that little bit of knowledge and they stretch it like they know everything. I don't know everything. I know probably 86% of about 254 things. Okay, now you get that past that number 254, I'm gonna be like, because I just don't know.
You know things based on your own experience, and you're here sharing them with others. And some people just aren't like your viewer just said, that some people just don't want to be educated. But what I will say,
they don't care. Yeah.
I will say too, I know, I could tell when you called, and I can tell now this is upsetting to you, but don't let that stop you from spreading your message.
No, that's why I'm up here tonight, and thank you for that. Now, this right here, I'm glad Milton mentioned this. I want to put this up. I'm tired of people asking if my cerebral palsy is contagious.
Oh.
Let me say this out loud. There are doctors still informing patients that if they have children, their children are going to get CP. This needs to stop. I have said on my show 354 times, and I went back and watched them, so I know how many times I said it, that cerebral palsy is not contagious. Cerebral palsy is caused by a lack of oxygen to the brain during or after the birthing process. So you have to understand something got to be done. You got to choke the baby. The umbilical cord got to choke the baby. You drop the baby. Don't drop the baby. I'm just saying.
People don't realize this comes from your circumstances. This is not something that's in your genes. It just is something that happens, and
you cannot get cerebral palsy from playing with another kid, from kissing another kid, from hugging another kid, from talking to another kid. It is not a virus. It is not contagious. It is outrageous. It is in multiple stages, and this is what scares people right here. When you don't know and you take something that it's not genetic, exactly. You take something that you think you do know about. This is where you hurt people, because when you misdiagnose or you give misinformation, you're hurting people. Cerebral palsy cannot be caught, taught, brought. It is straight up affected up here. Now, where people get confused when they see somebody that looks like this and they get their hands up here and their legs are tight and their arms are tight and they can't move or can't talk, they automatically assume that they are mentally delayed. That's MD. That's another abbreviation. Okay, that don't mean anything else. The throat is a muscle. For a person to talk, sometimes you will hear a person with CP talk like this. My name is Billy and I'm from Virginia. It is because they don't have the strength to go with the words as fast as I do.
Right.
I talk so much, even God's like, oh, crap, son, tone it down a little bit, will you?
Like, I don't know how to shut up in 2 languages, so I got that going for me. I'm bilingual, so yeah.
Now, I want to go over to Christina a minute, because Christina's in a unique situation right now. She has an unanswered question to her cerebral palsy, and this is where I'm very thorough, and I'm looking around, and we're talking, and I'm going, have you thought of this? Have you tried this? Have you thought of this? And I'm going to say this, I have 5 people that are in my background that are medical. So when Christina asks me a question, I'm very medical. Put the jargon on, the white coat, the stethoscope, the whole 9 yards. Balance in CP is not only caused by the brain, it's caused by coordination, it's caused by what you wear, it's caused by whether you walk flat-footed or toe walker. Okay, my fiance is a toe walker, but balance with CP. Remember, messages are going from the brain, and they're bouncing around. But when you are a person with CP and you're walking, sometimes the messages stop. They hit a wall and they stop, so you stumble. when you stumble, that's a message from the brain going, hold on, whoa, whoa, whoa. And it doesn't catch up fast enough to slow you down. Now, Christina has fallen backwards. She's fallen frontwards. She's fallen sideways. I say we wrap her in bubble wrap, but that's another question.
Yeah.
You had asked that you had determined that a lot of the balance issues came from your gait and your hips, correct? Because it was
correct.
There's
an issue I'm dealing with right now. Has a little bit of a backstory, but I'm still dealing with long COVID. I think I'm starting to come out of it, but I had COVID in July and sort of had more leg pain and some nerve pains even on top of that. And one of the things I started noticing with that, plus having gotten new braces right around that time, what I started noticing is I was falling forward and I was tripping over my own foot. And when my physical therapist, Trisha, she's absolutely amazing. She's been a godsend. She is. I tell her, you know, a lot that she's been such a blessing on my life. And I won't say much more. I'll start crying right up on the show. Because she seriously is just amazing. But when she watched me walk, she said, well, your hips are weak. You're not kicking your leg out far enough. So when you're going to kick your leg out, if you get tired or whatever, you're not kicking it out far enough. I'm not clearing my own foot. So I go to kick my foot out to step. But instead of kicking it out to step, I'm just like dragging my toe along the floor.
Right.
And I was face planting, and then I was like spraining my wrist because of even though you're not supposed to do this, I know you're not supposed to do this. Okay, but I will reach my hand out to try to stop myself. And I can't tell you how many times I've had this wrist all bruised up or in a wrist guard, you know, because I had been falling so much. And I actually just got an evaluation in physical therapy today. And even though I'm kind of coming out of the long COVID and I'm having less leg pains and I'm getting back to the gym, that's still something, you know, that we want to work on, is to keep strengthening the hips, to make walk, not just for now, but like looking to the future, you know.
Right. I know when I was walking on crutches, and just kind of to go off what you said. Hi, Sarah. Just put your comment up as well. I'm lucky. I never fall. I always catch myself. I have ataxia, CP. So here's the thing.
If it wasn't for you, babe, I would have busted my ass many times.
Well, and here's the thing. The toe drag is a very, very, very common thing with CP. Now, most people, and Christina, correct me if I'm wrong, they drag their non-dominant side. So if you're dominant on your left side, you drag your right because your right is weaker than your left. Or is that what you're right?
That's true in my case as well. I mean, I've always used my left strand on the right side. I always go up and down stairs with the right side, so it's just naturally going to be stronger. The left side is a little bit weaker, and ultimately it's going to get tired quicker. And for me at least, I do okay until I'm tired, and then my body just can't.
All right, so let's kind of go to that too. The word tired. Now, for a person with CP to tie their shoes, okay, or pick something up that they've never picked up before, okay, it takes an enormous amount of energy for them to do it. When I used to get dressed on the floor, it used to take me an hour to put my pants, shirt, socks, and shoes on. Okay. Now I got better over the years, but the consumption of energy to walk, if your muscles are not as strong as they need to be, to walk from one hallway to the other end of the hallway, you're by the time you get to the end, because you're exacerbating so much energy. Now, Christina, here's where Christina comes into play. And I said, Christina's been on my show multiple times. She has worked and worked out and muscle toned and goes to the gym and goes to the Y and swims and does everything in physical therapy, back into physical therapy, and does everything that her body needs that doesn't fight against herself. So many people, and this is what I want to point out, myself included, we get occupational and physical therapy in school, and it's irritating and we don't like it, and they make us do stuff we don't want to do. Like Trisha, we love you. I'm just saying, my therapist was great. Her name was Miss Karen, and she made me, and I was getting stronger, and I could do handstands and all this stuff. And then once I got my serial casting done, my serial casting straightened my legs out. They start like this, and then they go the next week like this, and they go the next week like this, and they go the next week like this, and you stay in cast. Well, when they did that, it straightened my legs out, but the problem is
You lose muscle with that, though.
and now I can't sit on the floor anymore because I don't bend like that. Well, I stopped stretching and got lazy because I didn't want to go to physical therapy anymore, and I didn't want to deal with it. And then I started gaining weight. Well, when I got up in that 300-pound range, I went, you know what, I got to do something with my life, and started working in martial arts and lost 63 pounds in the first 6 months. Okay, so if you don't work your muscles and you don't keep stretching and you don't keep working and you don't keep walking with cerebral palsy, don't let doctors tell you it can't get any worse, because it can. And as you
That's a misconception too. Sorry to jump in and interrupt.
go ahead.
That CP is not progressive, and I think that could be misleading because you say not progressive. You're basically talking about the fact that the brain damage is not going to get any worse, but that doesn't mean that the symptoms can't change over time. Everybody goes through stages of their life. You go through, well, like for me, long COVID. I was a lot more fit in the summer, and then I got long COVID, and I'm, slowly building up strength. You go through, you get married, you get divorced, people have all of these things that go on in their life that are going to change their circumstances, and their bodies are going to change with that, and that's a natural thing. But I think people have this misconception that, the CP is not going to get any worse, so I can just be lazy, and that's not the case. I think we unfortunately have to work 10 times harder than anybody else to be healthy, because we have so much else in our body that's going to work against us if we don't do what we need to do to stay ahead of these changes, or to recognize these changes and plan accordingly, right, as we go through different stages of our life.
And Christina touched on something. I want to go back. We're talking about CP and the effects of CP. All right, so CP causes brain damage, which means I am sitting in a chair and cannot walk by myself. The effects of CP are as follows: muscle tightness, spasms, colonus. Everybody know what colonus is? I guarantee you don't. Colonus is you sit your foot on your footrest and you sit it there and it almost goes to sleep, and you go to move it and it goes, and it starts moving real fast or shaking. That's called colonus, because you're not putting what they call direct pressure on your foot. Okay. Medical knowledge, again, goes a long way. Read a medical book, for God's sake. It'll help you out. Now, the misconception is that CP can't get any worse because it's already done. The CP itself, what causes it, and the things you do as preventive care. Let's go this way. You get a cold in January. You go outside without a jacket and without shoes on. Don't be stupid. Put shoes on, put a jacket on. Okay, you have CP and you know your arms are tight. Stretch your arms every day. Get on a therapy program at home. You don't need a therapist to get you on a therapy program. Once you find one and you've been through therapy at school, talk to a therapist that you know, a doctor that you know, get comfortable with them. Get on a therapeutic program.
Yeah, it's people I think have the misconception too that, you know, you have to spend all this money to know what to do. And yeah, like I think your average person with CP is probably a good idea to get established with a physical therapist just to have a game plan.
Sure.
It doesn't mean that you have to go as often as I've gone in the last 3 or 4 years, but I don't think it's a bad place to start to be established with someone, because that is how you can deal with problems as they come, right? Because you have a doctor or you have a physical therapist to go to and say, hey, I'm noticing this. And that's going to make those issues so much easier to manage because you've taken the time to make some connections to make sure you've got the support that you need.
Very, very good point. 2 points I want to point out here. Sarah's been a friend of mine from Woodrow. We went to college together a long time. And what she's talking about, there are so many different types of cerebral palsy, that people don't realize. You could put 50 people or 50 cases or 50 humans that have cerebral palsy in front of you, and every case is different. Every case, they may have some similarities. They may have some of the same problems, but every case is different, and every case should be treated as such. Now, there's a comment up here I want to show, and Thomas actually said it because it really bothered him, and I've known several people like this. I'm glad that I have a speech device so people can understand me, because it frustrates him when people can't understand him. Now, here's the thing with speech. You've got to keep working at it, okay? When I was 12 months old, I was speaking in complete sentences, okay? I could have been tested at the genius category for this, but I could not open my hand. I could not sit up on my own. I could not roll over. So you look at me and you say, oh, that child is retarded. No, that's where the line gets drawn right there. You look at what you see, but you don't understand jack, okay? This is where you've got to go, and you've got to understand people are people by themselves, individually, as individuals. And if we treat them as such and we treat them as people, we're going to know that just because this person has a disability or disabilities, they can still talk. They can still communicate in their own way. But in Thomas's case, you have to do something that a lot of people don't do. You have to slow down. I have learned to pick up speech problems where people have their mouths open much wider, and they're much louder, but they're shocked that I can understand them, and they smile and they get all giddy and they go, how can you understand me? I go, because I take the time to listen, understand people with different dialects, okay? Speech is a progressive dialect, okay? To work speech, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. That's hard to say for a person with CP, okay? Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Those tongue twisters. Those are the speech therapists use those for strengthening of the tongue and the throat. The tongue is the strongest muscle in the body, okay? But if you don't use that muscle, you lose it, okay? And a lot of the speech that comes from, I'm going to use a music reference here. The teeth and the tongue go through the lips, so it's basically every th sound. That's a pressure, okay? And you have to know a consistent pressure to get to come out right. And sometimes spit is going to come there because you're not used to controlling all of that. All of that falls into what I call, look, I'm 41 years old, about to turn 42. I'm going to be honest. I can sit in my chair and fall asleep and wake up, and there is a pile of drool from here to here. And I look down and I go, how in the hell did I drool all over myself? The body, when it relaxes, when you're tight and you're hurting and you're spasming, relaxing is the best thing you can do. And the other thing is, and this is to help out my CP people, breathe. Breathe. No breathe, no life. Okay? They work that in martial arts, and you get tight and you're working on something and you're going, if you're not letting that oxygen get into where it needs to go, you're going to get tighter and you're going to get more tired quickly.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm actually seeing 2 physical therapists right now. And I'm learning that breathing, okay, and deep breathing while you're stretching is, another thing that you can do to really help all of that. And I guess I didn't realize how much our breath, okay, has to do with like the hips and the abdominal muscles and all of that, all of that hip pain that I've been having. The breath and proper breathing while you're stretching has a lot to do.
Well, and if you think about it, in your situation, now that you're getting that, and I was talking in martial arts, Tony's one of my students that I have.
Mm-hmm.
When you're trying to pick something up and you lift a weight and you'll pick it up.
Right.
But when you and push through, you're able to get that exhale. And I've only learned this from almost 14 years of martial arts. Okay. I'm about to be, I haven't announced this on the show yet, and Christina doesn't even know. I'm about to be promoted to 2nd degree black belt. And I've waited a long time to announce this. But I've been a black belt since 2015. It is now 2023, almost 2024. It's time for me to go up a little bit. So my Kiyoshi, Mr. Whitaker, is going to promote me to 2nd degree black belt because he knows that I'm ready. And he's seen what I teach and how I teach. Now, the thing about the breath is when you're tired, you're constantly trying to catch your breath. So what they tell you to do is breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. You do that about 6 or 7 times and your heart rate slows down and oxygen starts kind of going through your body and things start moving. Okay, yeah. But you don't breathe, you will lock up and fall over.
Yeah. I mean, breath it can be a huge part of pain management also. I know during, especially the beginning of my long COVID, like I can't tell you how many times my physical therapist would send me home with, different like meditation things to try because we were using that to help with pain because you can take baclofen, you can take Amobic, you can take a lot of things to help with your pain, but I think ultimately a lot of the pain that we have can be made worse sometimes by not having the appropriate behaviors to cope with that. And breathing is one of the ways that we cope with pain. It helps us with exercise, whether we're walking, whether we're running, whether we're rolling, we're lifting weights. I mean, that is just a huge thing.
There's 2 other things I want to cover on the show before we end because we're at 44 minutes. But 2 things I want to talk about with Christina since she mentioned it, talking about the breath. When you are trying to exhale, one of the things that helps me in martial arts, especially if I'm at a tournament or especially if I'm trying to go through something, learning a new technique, pick a spot on the wall. Focal and take a expo marker and that way it comes right off. And take an Expo and make a green dot on your wall. Look at that green dot, and when you breathe out toward that green dot and focus the breath toward that green dot. The reason I'm saying that, when you focus your breath on one piece, your body will relax and let a full breath come out. A lot of people do what's called shallow breathing, and they don't know they're doing it because they're breathing through their nose, but they're going. You need to take that deep breath and take a minute to let that full inhale get in there. Hold it for a second. Let that diaphragm fill up. Don't go from here, not from the chest, from the tummy. Go and right in the middle. You got to use, and the first time you do it, you're like, ow, that hurts. Once you diaphragmatic breathe, you're going to learn. That diaphragm going to tell you, I'm weaker than you thought.
I will say, though, too, the breathing for people with CP is harder, depending on where your whole pelvis and hips and everything are situated. Yes. I mean, yep. I've just had I'm going to use some big words here too. Anteriorly rotated pelvis, which means I hunch forward. My normal is not necessarily like straight back like everyone else, right?
Yours is here.
What's that?
Yours is here. Your normal's up here.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's gotten better over time, but I mean, a lot of that can restrict the diaphragm too.
But you've also corrected your diaphragmatic space.
I've corrected. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying perfect, but I've done a lot to make it better. And I think back to, this is getting a little bit off topic, but it's related. I think back to like my high school choir days and having trouble projecting my voice. Well, I'm not saying that it all had to do with my posture, but my posture and the CP. And the diaphragm is a muscle. So that deep breathing for me was harder and not as effective because I didn't have, good control over that unless I was sleeping, and completely.
Well, the two parts there is to sit up straight like this with your shoulders back.
I can't. If
you're not used to it and you don't do it, your diaphragm will slump when you slump. Your diaphragm will sit up straight when you sit up straight.
Exactly.
And talking about a muscle, I want to go over two more things, and I want to ask Christina this. Some people have trouble swallowing. They have trouble chewing. They have trouble eating. I want you to think about this, folks. The throat is a muscle. All of that. The jaw is a muscle. So if you have trouble swallowing or you have trouble eating and you have to take smaller bites, you've got to work that jaw and that throat. And when you eat, don't eat like this. You want to have that throat up so that you can actually have that elongated esophagus to make it fall down. Again, going medical here. When Christina was working out, a lot of the things that she was doing, and what I like about the things that she was doing when she was posting her videos, you were using what, 2-pound barbells, 2-pound dumbbells?
Started out with 2, and to tell you the truth, now I've only been back to weightlifting, like heavy weightlifting for about 3 weeks now. And part of that's because of long COVID. But I still have always, if I'm using dumbbells, it's 5 or 10 pound dumbbells. I don't do, 20, 25 pounds or anything like that. And maybe in the future I will. But where I'm at currently, I find that it's safer to use lower weights and have more reps. Okay. Because with dumbbells, you're not as supported as well as opposed to if you're using a machine. Okay. The machine, sitting on that and having it set a certain way is going to kind of keep you in a better posture. So, I tend to be able to lift a lot heavier with a machine, chest press, for example, than like a chest press, laying on a bench, and doing a chest press.
Right. So two things that you just commented over there, lower weight and more repetition. Okay. And a lot of
up the weight. I mean, I'm not that we like, I mean, back pre-COVID, I was doing 50-pound pull downs.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to understand, I didn't start with 50-pound pull downs.
Right.
I started with 10
and here,
pull downs, and then 15, and then
right. You increase gradually. You
Mhm.
increase gradually. But the reason I asked Christina about that is because everybody wants to go out and see how strong I'm gonna pick up this 250-pound barbell here and just press it off 400 times.
and can't lift for a month, and then you
No, and then you rip your chest muscle and you wonder why you're sitting there and can't move. Okay, I used to be able to bench press 250 pounds.
Mhm.
I was a strong. I'm gonna let you know. I was up here. Oh, I used to be cut. I used to have the big shoulders, the big guns walking around.
I used to, and I'm getting back there slowly but surely. But I've been just trying to be, forgiving of myself in this process, because I knew that when I was sick, I needed to rest. But I told myself, okay, as I'm starting to come out of this, and as I'm starting to feel better, like, I need to slowly get back into this, because I missed it. I enjoy doing those types of things. I've always been a person that has enjoyed challenging my body, but we've also got to be careful, whether we have CP or don't have CP, that we're being patient with ourselves when we're in, different.
That's what I was waiting for right there. And it's hard to have patience when you
So
get
dang hard. Like, I am the most impatient.
You want to go from A to Z, done. Like,
like Trisha and I had this conversation the other day, and I said, you've been putting up with me for 4 years, and she goes,
but I'm so proud. I'm so proud of how you've overcame a lot.
It's been like this. It's been, an up and down, and
it's gonna be that way.
And it's gonna be that way for any of us with CP, But the further I go on this journey, the more I'm starting to realize that. And does that mean that I don't get frustrated? No. I mean, just a couple weeks ago, I was at a really frustrating point, because I just felt like it was the same thing every day, and it was still here, and the leg pains are still here, but you hit a point and things start getting a little better, and it's like, you know what? Okay, I just one day at a time,
You can move on from the point that you're out, but what I wanted to say was, and here's what I like about Christina: she's not afraid to admit. I start using 2 to 5 pound barbells first. Mm-hmm. Start there, because that's a lot of weight on your wrist. When you get comfortable with the 2, then move up to the 3. Mm-hmm. When you get comfortable with the 3, then move up to the 4, the 5, the 6. I won't do more than 15 pounds on these hands, because free weights are different. Now, what Christina's talking about on a machine, you get me on a pull down machine, I need somebody to hold down the back of my chair, because that's where my strength is. My strength is the press. My strength is the pull down. My strength is the curl. Where my strength is not is my legs. I'm working on that daily. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's a bitch. It hurts. I'm standing in the shower longer. I'm standing at the bedside longer. I'm standing transferring to the toilet longer. I'm standing trying to go to the other side of the chair longer. And you think about it, and Jack asked me 3 years ago, Grandmaster Jack Darren asked me 3 years ago, we went to lunch. He said, I want you to do me a favor. I said, anything you want. I should have never said that. I should have never said that. Because the question that came out his mouth next, I was like, oh, don't do this to me. He said, I want you to get your legs stronger so you can walk and actually get in the dojo and use your legs a little bit. And I'm like, ooh. Ooh. And you understand, Jack, I don't say no to Jack because Jack is that type of person that has been there. Mr. Whitaker's that type of person that's been there. And when they ask me something, I take it very strongly into consideration. He said, listen, all I want you to do is start in the shower. You got a handrail in your shower? He said, make sure your wife's there. I said, okay. He said, hold on to the rail and just hold on to the rail. Start with 10 seconds and count it. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4. And I did that. And the first time I held on to that rail, boy, my legs started to burning. And I was like, I can't do this. This is crazy. I'm not doing this. But I sat down for a second and I said, when is the last time I said I can't do something? And I messed myself up, see, because you'll psych yourself out as a person. You can psych yourself out before you ever start. So I said, all right, let me try one more time. And I got to 10. And let me go to 12. And I held it 2 extra seconds. Now, I didn't tell Jack that. But I'm starting to.
You showed yourself that you could do something. And that's the first step, you know, having that realization of like, okay, realizing that it's not going to be easy, but like, hey, I just did that. I can do that. That goes a long way when you feel like you have this mountain ahead of you that you've got to climb.
I never considered myself walking on my crutches again. Never thought I would. Never. Because I just got tired of it. It was easier to go in the chair and get up and go. Mm-hmm. Christina and I talked about it. She said, will you think about it? I said, I'll think about it. And the other day, I was feeling pretty good, and my legs were feeling pretty good. So I said, you know, I wonder. Let me go ahead and get a new pair of crutches. Let me look at what I need. And let's see if we can't start this thing just like the martial arts journey. Slow and steady wins the race. I ain't got to impress nobody. I ain't round kicking yet. I ain't jumping up in the air kicking nobody. All right, so now, what does this do for me? This adds another level of dexterity, of physical fitness, of understanding, of therapy, if you want to look at it that way, of getting from point A to point B. I used to use my crutches and jump around like a fart in a hot skillet. And nobody could catch me because I was fast. But I was also small, bony, muscular. I weighed 103 pounds. 115 pounds when I started college. I was in a boys 18. I am not in a boys 18 anymore. I'm in a that's what I'm in. Okay, so, but understand, if you got there once and you trust yourself, but most of all, pace yourself for where you want to go. Don't push yourself so hard. Work Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Give your body a chance to rest. Your body's got to heal.
The other thing, your body, you have to give your body accurate periods of rest. And I've learned that the hard way over the last couple of years. You know, in the summer, DJ knows, and some of you that have seen me on my show know, I like my lap swims. I'm like, you know, I love to exercise, but I've slowly learned that I can't do everything all at once. Because that leads to more fatigue and actually more frustration on my end because I'm not giving myself the rest that I need to be able to feel my best while I'm doing all of these things.
So to close out, we got a question: would a personal trainer work? Yes, a personal trainer is a great idea. Now, the only thing I want to say to that, make sure that your personal trainer knows that you have cerebral palsy, knows that you have a medical condition, and consult with your doctor first.
Yes, I did that. Consulted with my physical therapist, Trisha. She wrote up do's and don'ts basically for my personal trainer. Like one of those with my balance was no freestanding things. I either needed to be seated for everything, or I needed to have a wall right there or a safety bar right there within reach at all times, because that was going to allow me to be safe while building muscle. So yes, what DJ said, definitely consult with a doctor, consult with a physical therapist, get the do's and don'ts. You want to get stronger, but you don't want to hurt yourself getting there. You don't want to do something that's going to set you back, that's going to injure you. And I will, my second personal trainer after my first one stopped being a personal trainer. My second personal trainer I actually heard about through a work friend. So my work friend had talked me up to this personal trainer about how I'm swimming laps in the pool and I'm doing 5Ks and I'm doing this and I'm doing this. And I went to my first consultation and she was asking me about my goals, asking me about my workout routine. And we got done with the whole thing. And I was like, now I do have some limitations. And she goes, girl, what limitations? I hear you swimming laps. I hear you doing 5Ks. I hear you doing, this, that, and the other. And but I appreciated her for that because I feel like she never saw the disability. She just saw me as another client that she wanted to help. And she was very respectful of those guidelines, but as things changed, I was able to talk with Trisha and, okay, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Again, still making sure it was okay before I took the next step.
That's the key point right there. Talking about that communication between your personal trainer, your physical therapist, and your doctor.
And have them sign those HIPAA forms. There are forms that you can ask your personal trainer for that you can sign that says, yes, it's okay for this personal trainer to share info so-and-so and back and forth. That makes it easier because, especially at first, not everything doesn't have to go through you then. Like, the doctor can communicate back and forth. Everybody can communicate back and forth legally, okay, without, doing anything wrong or breaching, confidentiality, none of that. You want to do what you can paperwork wise too to make that an easier
CYA, cover your butt. Okay, just cover your butt. Look, yeah. This has been a great show. I know I'm going to do a part 2 with Christina on this. I don't know if it'll be next Wednesday or Wednesday after, probably after the holiday. But this helped a lot because we covered a lot in here. And this is one of the shows where I knew it was going to be good because we were going to cover what we wanted, but also go kind of where we needed to go. And
everything have fun when we're together,
Yeah. We've taken shows like this before, but don't judge something until you fully understand it. You want to know what my show's about? Go in there and click on those videos. 146 of them, 147 of them.
Right.
You will learn something if you just take the time to not assume that just because it says CP, it doesn't mean something it's not supposed to. Right. So thank you, Christina, for being with me tonight. This was great. I do want to do this again. We haven't. It's been a while since you've been behind the camera because I know you've been working through some stuff. I hope everybody has a wonderfully, wonderfully great and safe holiday. Be careful out there. People are crazy. Remember what Christmas is truly about. Contact somebody. Tell them you love them. Make sure you write somebody. Take some time for yourself this holiday to physically and mentally and spiritually heal. 2023 has been tough, but when rolling through, we're going to 2024, and we got a whole lot more. So that's what it's going to be. This is D to the J with a roll away, and we'll see you when we see you. If you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. I will see you next week. Wait a minute, what is next week? What is that? No, we won't have, will we have it next week? Let's see.
Yeah. Well, 7 days from now is the, so yeah, you could have it.
All right, we got one more. We got one more. I got one more CP in here. All right, so we'll do that, and we'll see you on the 20th. You guys take care. Bye, everybody.